Once you've downloaded your data, it often comes in some form of archive format. So you need to figure out how to unpack it. Some forms of archival formats are gzip, tar, gzip, zip, and many others. Usually the suffix of a file is giving you a hint of what the archival format is. Here, gz is gzip. There are too many different formats to go over here. I'll deal with a few of the common ones that I usually encounter. So first, gzip and a file name here, and that file name could have many dots and dashes. I'll just call it file. What gzip does is it takes the file, compresses it, moves it perhaps from some text format and some binary format, and creates file.gz. So whatever the file name was before, .gz is added on at the end. That's your archive file. If you want to get back to the uncompressed contents, you use gunzip or gunzip file.gz. It unpacks the file and creates what was there before. R is interesting. It has a long history in the Unix world. Its name actually refers to tape archival. It can do two things at once if you use the correct command line options here, which I generally have to look up myself. What tar does by itself is it takes a list of files or a directory with many files in it and creates a single file, and then it may or may not gzip the file. Gzip itself doesn't archive folders, so if you have an entire folder that you would like to archive, use tar with the Z option here and give it the name of the archive that you want to call it, and then it will contain the folder or many files at once. The inverse operation of this uses tar, but instead of create, extract the files and folders that are gzipped, and you give it archive tar.gz, and it creates the files and folders that are in this archive. And archive.tar.gz remains. If you want to save space, because these things can be huge, you have to manually delete them with rm. Lastly, if you get a zip file, you can unzip with the unzip command. There aren't that many in the Linux Unix world or in the archival world out there. So let's walk through some examples for tar and gzip. We are again in the scp_test directory where we have two files, helloworld.sh and an existing tar gz file. If we just say gzip helloworld.sh, it creates the new file helloworld.sh.gz, which is now archived. The old file does not exist here. If we look at the contents with cat, now helloworld.sh.gz is some gibberish indicating it's more efficient binary storage. If we unzip helloworld.sh.gz, we now end up with helloworld.sh. We say cat helloworld, and we have the contents recovered. If we extract the tilt archive here using xfz options, we now end up with a new directory logs that exists in parallel to the archive. And if we just say logs/star and we count the lines that we get, there are 151 files in that directory. We can now compress this new directory logs into logs.tar.gz. We use the czf options, and now we have hello world, the logs directory that came from the tilt logs tar, and the new file logs.tar.gz. If we look at the size, they're approximately the same, showing that they contain approximately the same contents.